So, for legal purposes, everything I'm about to say is purely for entertainment. I am in no way insinuating, accusing, assuming, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no defamation going on in the next couple of minutes, right? As you guys all know, the number of datacrons that I had to do to not get the one good datacron in the entire set. I did 10 full datacrons to level 6, maxed out rerolls, and did not get the one good roll for datacrons. And I've called for this a bunch. I think, especially with lots of gambling in this game, I think they need to be very upfront about it. Like we did the example the other day of, I think we just took a random pack. Thank you for trying to sell me something. That pack that popped up is a perfect example. But this pack right here, this is gambling. This used to not be here, right? This handy little thing that tells you how much you're gambling, it used to be here, and then this thing would get ad blocked because the computer thought it was a scam. So this is a good step up. I appreciate this. This, in short, needs to go on datacrons because we did 10 full datacrons with maximum rerolls on only the level 6. 2 of the 10 datacrons started as light side, so 1 of the 20 rerolls had to go to that for both of those. 10 datacrons from start to finish, didn't get the level 6, right? Didn't spend any money, was grinding conquest like a good little boy. And again, I'm not making any defamatory claims. This is purely for entertainment. But it got me thinking. I have a bunch of friends who work in the gaming industry. Obviously, I live in California. Basically, every human being I know works in tech to some capacity. Many are software engineers, programmers, game designers, you name it. And a while back, I learned that very many, and I will not name which ones, applications will put different percentage chances of things happening dependent on a pre-existing circumstance. For example, you're using application number 1, you're interacting with something, it's very unlikely for you to have a positive outcome. You spend money, the next couple of times you interact with that thing, you get a very positive outcome. You start to think, like, wow, this is really going, let me keep spending money. And they start to taper it off. A perfect example is, I have a buddy, I won't name his name, you guys wouldn't know him because he's a real human being and you guys are all fake internet people who don't exist, or I don't exist. One of us doesn't exist. Either it's you or it's me, but there's no way both of us are real. That being said, he was an employee for one of the larger dating apps. And he said one of the best things that they've ever come up with is they hide something that entices you behind a paywall that is completely made up, right? So let's say APGAINSLove.com, the mobile app. I'll show you that you possibly have a couple of sexy singles in the area who want to meet you, and the doctors don't want you to know this one cool trick or whatever it is. But you can't interact with those things that you very desperately want to interact with because you wouldn't be on the app otherwise, unless you pass through some artificial paywall, right? And to reiterate the first thing I said at the start of this video, this is purely for entertainment purposes, and I am no way accusing or assuming or insinuating. I might be insinuating a little bit, but I'm obviously doing this for comedic and entertainment purposes. I ran a little experiment, and as a man of science myself, it's a terrible experiment with no statistical or scientific backing whatsoever, but I thought it would be funny. So I got a pop-up for one of the worst offers in the game, which is this pack right here. $25, you get 1 datacron, 100 reroll materials of each, and then basically no materials whatsoever. My head is blocking it, but 180 medium boys. So since I've been dismantling all of my datacrons to try and get the materials, to get the one good thing that exists in the game, the cooldown reduction, scrapped everything, just have enough. I spent $25, and I had a dream that one day we would all hold hands in the old spiritual, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty we are free at last. R.I.P. Martin Luther King Jr., my favorite holiday and a great man. I look up to him very much because my birthday is right next to his day. So I always got school off. Obviously, that's a joke. His value to me is not purely on getting my birthday off of school. But I bought the $25 pack. A terrible value and a complete waste. But what happened after I bought that $25 pack? I was set with one Datacron with just enough to get it up to level 9. And let's see what happened. After 10 full Datacrons with max rerolls, not getting the one good thing, what did I get? I got armor penetration. Oh, that's pretty good. I got dodge. Oh, that's amazing. Dark side characters, when they evade, get offense. Okay, whatever, but it was dark side. Actually, I'm going to lie to you. I just lied to you. This was light side. This is the one reroll I did. I got special critical avoidance. I got resistance penetration. And then this was some random shit. But I had 100 extra reroll materials. Or 20 extra, because I did 120 and then another 20. As you see here, I have 81. I started with 101. So, I rerolled for what would have been the 1, 2, 3, 4, the 41st time on my 41st reroll on the Datacron that I spent money on after getting great stats. On the 41st reroll, I just so happened to get the thing that had been eluding me. And the only good level 9. Now, obviously, this has nothing to do with the long diatribe I went on earlier. Because, obviously, like I said in the first seconds of this video, this was purely for comedic effect and for the purposes of entertainment. I'm in no way, shape, or form accusing Capital Games of changing the RNG on free-to-play versus pay-to-win aspects of the game. In no way am I trying to say that, obviously, because that's bullshit. I mean, I personally believe that to not be the case in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. I know it to be factual in many other applications from employees who oftentimes worked on setting up those features. But with a very, very high degree of certainty, I can say that this does not take place in Galaxy of Heroes. But since this is primarily a free-to-play entertainment channel, I just thought it was interesting. It was an interesting experiment to run. To get such spectacular RNG. You know? This is like... I literally thought to myself, and you guys are gonna fucking love this. The last couple of streams, ever since we started like randomly playing poker with subscribers, and I used lots of gambling addiction and gambling related things to kind of go back and forth between Galaxy of Heroes mechanics and then real world gambling mechanics to try to illustrate why certain practices are not good for your best interest. So a line that I've been saying a lot is, 90% of gambling addicts quit right before the big win, right? And that's obviously a joke. Obviously, you're statistically never going to have the big win. And you just say that to get those gambling addicts to be like, fuck, man, I shouldn't have quit. I was it's just pure sarcasm, right? But I was doing this at work during my break. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to see what happens. I'm going to spend $25 and I just know it's going to happen. Because GAC lock was in like 10 minutes, and I was like, fuck it. If I can solo a GL because of this $25, I'll make that back in like meme video ad revenue over the course of a couple days. It's fine. It'll be a net gain. It's a tax write-off, whatever. And I was sitting there after getting perfect RNG and was just like, wow. To think 90% of gambling addicts quit right before the big win. And I had quit, and I was like, fuck it. Give me one last roll on the craps table, one last spin on roulette, one last hand of poker, and I got the max win. And I was like, man, maybe it's 100% of gambling addicts quit right before the max win. So, moral of the story, If you're not a gambling addict, I highly recommend you become one. Obviously, that's a joke. People on Reddit sometimes, and by sometimes, I mean the majority of times, can't understand sarcasm or jokes that come out of my mouth. So I need to clarify for those of you who otherwise might be r/inclined. That was a joke. Gambling is terrible. And that was my fun experience. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Save AP September, 25,000 subscribers. If we do it, I'll R9 Cup. If we don't, I'll fall into a crippling depression that I'll never be able to drag myself out of. Either way, I will see you tomorrow. So I always love you. Bye-bye.